Hello and good evening. I am so sorry that the live YouTube presentation did not work out, but I am going to record something so that we can at least post it. So, by way of introduction, my name is Natalie Kalaman or Natalia Kalimon, and I am an occupational therapist or po-ukrainski ergoterapeut. Please forgive me, I will not be speaking in Ukrainian, as if any of you have seen my 3-minute clip that I recorded previously, I did that in Ukrainian and it was quite challenging, and I really wanted to speak this presentation in the language that I'm most comfortable. So, without further ado, the topic I am going to speak on is tips for keeping a routine during self-isolation. And as we all know, we are all now in a very unique new position where we have lost our regular routine. This is a huge change. It's a huge change for all of us. So, although as a therapist with my clients, I do develop goals and daily routines, of course, during these times, all those things have changed for myself professionally with my clients, but also personally. So, when I speak about these tips, they are by no means to judge anyone if you have not been able to follow a routine, but more I was hoping that as a community, we could start sharing some ideas for things that have worked for other people. And I hope to give you some strategies that will help you in creating perhaps a better routine in the days to come. So please, once again, there is no judgment. I understand there are days where we've all felt like sleeping in, staying in sweatpants, perhaps, watching more TV or being on social media longer, watching more news than we ever would have. And these have all been very different for all of us. It has been a few weeks now, and so the idea of trying to implement some different strategies now, well, as I say, there's no time like the present. So let's see what we can do in the next few weeks to start implementing a few ideas that may make us feel better by the end of the day. So first off, I wanted to talk about keeping a regular wake and bedtime. So these are exactly as I say, trying to wake up at the same time. So that may mean setting your alarm clock, setting your watch, setting a time that you know is reasonable. And that may not be the same as when you go to school or work, but do try and pick something that hopefully is in the morning so that you feel like your day during daylight hours is productive. And same with the bedtime. I know it's really easy to switch day and night or stay up late because you feel like there is no reason to get up. But what I'm hoping we discuss today is that we're going to find a reason to get up each day and to have that goal, something to look forward to, and something that you know you want to get accomplished during the day. So, back to the mornings. When you wake up, it is a great idea, especially Monday to Friday, which are traditionally the work days, to get up, brush your teeth, shower, shave, get dressed, put on a different outfit. I know it's not really like going out, but maybe put on a different shirt. Maybe put on, I know today I made a little bit of an effort, and for all of you, of course, and I put on some jewelry. I know you won't know this, but I did put on some perfume. It's only for me, but does it make me feel better? It absolutely does. Do I put it on every day? No, but I knew I was going to be doing this video today, and I thought I'll do something a little different to make me feel different as well. The other thing that's very helpful during times like this is to remember in the mornings to do a daily intention. It may be a statement of gratefulness. It may be something positive to focus on for that day. I've found personally that it helps channel some of the energy into a more positive stream so that I have some small thing to focus on or something to be grateful for that day. And sometimes that could just be when I see the sun outside my window and I'm just so thrilled that it's sun. Unlike today, we had a little bit of snow. All right, moving on. So the other things that I'm going to encourage is that each day in your routine, you try and incorporate tasks that are physical, tasks that are cognitive or maybe mentally stimulating, and some tasks that are emotionally calming or relaxing. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. The other thing that's so important during these times is to eat regular, healthy meals. And of course, stay hydrated. I know we all talk about water and good nutrition, but these are times where we actually have a little bit more time to focus and think about it and perhaps walk around with that glass of water throughout the day. Maybe starting a new recipe or looking for an interesting recipe, maybe sharing things with family and friends. Now, what are some of the strategies for implementing this routine? I'm going to go back to the basics just as a reminder that even in these times, these are things that we can do. And those are setting an alarm. Maybe it's being a little more creative. Maybe it's a Google Calendar that you create and you put in the times that you think it'd be good to get up and you put it in as an appointment with yourself. Maybe it's Alexa. Maybe it's Google Home. It could be all sorts of things. Maybe it's a family member that also has no problem getting up and maybe they help you get up. Just be creative. Think of ways of getting yourself up in the morning, because really once we're up, usually we put one foot in front of the other and we keep going. The next thing that I would suggest is that you write your goals for the day out, either the goals or the schedule. So just like you might at work know that at a certain time there's lunch, and you may know you have certain meetings with certain people, try and schedule your day in the same way. This may be used by pen and paper, it may be your cell phone, it may be going right back to the calendar and booking appointments for the day or booking meetings. Maybe it's even a phone call to a friend or family member. The other thing that I find useful is if you do have a whiteboard, you could put some of the goals or ideas or the task that you want to accomplish that day, you could put it and write it up on a whiteboard. How that helps is other family members living in the same home may also see what your plan is, and that may keep you accountable to that goal. The other things that, some other ideas that may be helpful to implementing the routine are planning for the week, for your meals for the week. So that may mean looking at cookbooks and websites, planning your grocery order, and maybe at least pick one meal in that week that is different and healthy. Maybe get input from others and try and make it a fun activity rather than a chore. Now, don't get me wrong. When I suggest these things, I am by no means suggesting that I've got all this down. Sometimes when I think of planning the meals for the week, it seems like a huge task or undertaking. And then I read about people that have created all these things or baked or made all these amazing meals. And I know that can sometimes feel a little intimidating. And sometimes we can judge ourselves thinking, oh, why did I just do this? And I did something so simple. So let's just try and remember this is not about judgment or perfection, but rather ideas, and try starting small, one small idea that might be just a little bit different, and see how that feels. Okay, the other thing is scheduling exercise or some physical activity. So we all know that there are many ways of doing exercise. There are the traditional go to the gym or do a sport, which now is just not going to be easy or impossible. So let's get creative. And I know that this is not a live chat and therefore everybody can't contribute. I'm hoping that in future we will figure out our technology. I'm sure we will. And there will be the opportunity for people to share the ideas of how they've accomplished different things in their days. But when we look at physical activities or exercise, the ways we can do it in self-isolation at home are to be creative. And one of them is cleaning. Yes, that's right. Cleaning burns calories. And so perhaps some of those cupboards that we need to declutter, move things from upstairs, downstairs, or out to the garbage, doing that actually burns calories. And when we focus on those kinds of activities, that can help. There may be some small gardening tasks that you can do, changing pots, adding new plants, or weeding gardens. Depending on where you live, there may be some activities like that. There are also a number of great apps that give in-home exercises that are either stretching or strength building or even some cardio, and they don't require a lot of space and very little to no equipment. So that's where you can go online and search. I know some that I've tried are the Nike training app. There's also Peloton. There's a number of various stretching ones and yoga apps. So get creative, start thinking of ways of doing that. And of course, if you're still in an area where you're not restricted, you could go for a walk. Walking is one of the most simple ways of getting exercise. So it kind of falls into the physical activity, but also the emotional wellness activity. All right, cognitive activities. So cognitive are our mentally stimulating to keep our mind active. And so these activities are to improve our brain power, our attention, our memory, our listening. And so one of the things that I think has been incredible during this time is to see all of the online courses that are available, and some of them free or very little charge. So things like Universal Class, the Great Courses, Eventbrite, I noticed, even had some online events. And then there are, and I brought a sample just to show a few visuals I thought might help, board games, good old traditional board games. I hope you saw that. So dust them off, pull them out if you haven't used them, puzzles maybe that you haven't done, or maybe order a few games or puzzles online. And there are even some apps that have them. I know Taboo I've even used on an app, Scrabble. So there are lots of options that way. And those would be those mentally stimulating activities. Reading and listening to books, those are other great activities. Again, maybe go through the bookshelf. Maybe there were books that you intended to read and haven't yet. So again, get creative, think of new ways, maybe exchange books, ask your friends, by all means, continue with book club, do it on Zoom or Skype. Those kinds of activities are always stimulating and help us feel better at the end of the day. Another really good website is museums that have virtual tours. So I thought that was a really interesting one as well. All right, now to the emotional well-being. So my talk today is obviously during a time that is very difficult for everyone, for all of us. It's, as we call it sometimes, the upside down world. We're really confused as to what we could or should do. And how do we keep that emotional wellness? So again, book this into your day. Keep it part of your routine. So schedule time to do something that makes you feel good. And this is really a unique thing to you as an individual. For one person, it may be knitting, and for another person, it may be listening to music. And even then, it may be different kinds of music. So for one person, it may be some classical music, and for some other person, it may really be, I don't know, heavy metal. So that is up to you to decide, but choose things that you know make you feel good and allow you to take the focus off of the media, off of the news, and turn off the part that keeps you awake at night. because hopefully some of these strategies will help you sleep as well. So, what other things can you do to emotionally feel well? So, healthy eating helps, exercise helps, a walk helps, prayer, mindfulness, meditation, relaxation breathing. In fact, I hope in future to do some live sessions doing some mindfulness and breathing so that I can share in how I've found that particularly helpful. And so have a lot of my clients. And during this time, it's been really helpful to do more of it. And I have more time to do more of it. There are also some interesting apps for that. So I can definitely share a few. I know I've shared with some of my clients, Headspace, Calm. Those are all helpful for more of the mindfulness or breathing. The other thing that helps is keeping a clean and organized house. So although it's physical work, it takes time, quite often people will feel better. Not even quite often, but most times. I have rarely met a person who's cleaned up an area or decluttered and said, oh, I don't like that. Most people really respond well and feel a sense of accomplishment. Humor. So this is another huge area of mental health, mental well-being, feeling calm. Having a lot of the memes that are going around, they do make us laugh. I know I have sat and laughed out loud at some of the ridiculous cartoons or memes that have been sent my way. And I am always so grateful for seeing them, and I'll pass them on in hopes that somebody else will laugh. And I know we have an exchange network with my friends to just try and make each other laugh because that helps. And so those kinds of things, it's okay. Sometimes it's good to laugh at ourselves. Sometimes it's good to laugh at the situation. Much better to laugh sometimes than to cry, even though there's a place for crying as well. So I'm hoping that this gives you a few ideas. At this point, I was really hoping that I could open it up to a few questions, a few comments, maybe share some ideas that you all have. And again, I want to remind you all that these were all just ideas. By no means is this meant to judge any of you if you have not yet created the fabulous routine. We all understand that at this time it's challenging, but hopefully this gives you a few ideas that maybe tomorrow you have one extra activity that is motivating, that at the end of the day you say, you know, that felt good to accomplish that. And that's the idea behind developing or creating some new goals and implementing them into a routine. On a last note, I do want to say that as much as it's so important to keep abreast of what is happening in the media and be up on current events, I encourage you to limit how much you watch the news or listen to the news or follow it on social media. It would be great to compartmentalize, pick a time of day. I know here in Canada, we have the Prime Minister that speaks at 11 o'clock, and it's a great update. It gives me a chance to understand what is going on, but then at nighttime before bed, I don't watch any more news. So that really my bedtime routine at that point is more calming so that I am not fearful, so that I can go to bed thinking positively and not be stuck on some of the negative news that I may have heard. So those are my tips for now for creating a routine that leaves you hopefully satisfied, more productive, and with a sense of greater calm. I hope to be a part of a future talk, and hopefully it's live. All right. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you to the Ukrainian World Congress. I really appreciate being part of their volunteer task force during this time. And I think these are great ideas that we all work together, reach out to one another, and support one another. Thank you.